Well, today we're doing our annual Champion Tree Tour. It's a program we've offered for a number of years. It's very popular. And Joe Howard, who's head of the Montgomery County Forestry Board, leads us around Montgomery County to show us the champion trees for both the county and the state.
Gather around here to kind of tell everybody who we are. Yeah, I'm Joe Howard. I'm a former school teacher in the county, and this is my compatriot, Carol Bergman. We're going to go look at some of the champion trees here in Montgomery County.
The tree behind us is the paperbark maple, and it's one of our champion trees. Trees become champions by being nominated by the owner of the property or by just someone who comes on the property and notices it's a really big tree. The board comes and measures the tree and makes sure that they compare it to other trees of its species, and then they determine who the champions are.
People are always amazed at the number of big trees there are. We've got the most state champion trees, and we've got 4 national champion trees in our county. Then we've got Maryland's Millennium trees here. And the first one we're going to look at is a new county champion. It's a white mulberry. People always ask me, how do you know this is whatever kind of tree? How do you know this is a white mulberry? Well, this is very helpful.
This tree is from China. We brought them here because of the silkworm industry. We thought that we could have a thriving silkworm industry in the South, and we want you each time to touch a tree and just be happy that it's here. It's doing a good thing. This is a Norway spruce. This is probably one of the most common landscaping trees around old homes. You've seen these cones, which are purple when they're young. We, meaning the Forestry Board, Joe and I are both on the Forestry Board, are very interested in getting folks to acknowledge the fact that we have some really grand old trees here and to try to learn about them and protect them.
This was the original Osage orange tree. People always ask, what are these good for? And I'm going to show you.
Oh, get out of his way.
Now get on and off the vans as quick as you can. The faster you do it, the more trees we get to see. All right. This is Nick Weber, and he's the proud owner of a national champion tree. Right behind me is a Kentucky coffee tree. This
is a magnificent tree, and we're really lucky that we have Nick here because he loves this tree. He takes care of this tree. It's a great landscaping tree. It takes all kinds of conditions. I know this is going to be the tree with the biggest leaf you see all day. Okay, the tree we're looking at here is the large tree, Larix laricina. This is a northern tree.
The only time we heard about big trees is when they were going to cut them down to widen a road or put in a housing development. We thought if we brought some notoriety to them to begin with, we would have a better chance of saving them.
This tree has been around probably for 150 million years. It's one of the oldest trees.
Not this one.
Not this!
And so we're trying to make as many people aware of it as we can, and that was the motivation for doing this. Okay, let's move it, you people there at the end. I go for quantity, not quality. Remember I told you it's easy for me to identify trees when there's a label on them. Bark is so distinctive. Once you know what this is, if you don't already, you'll always be able to recognize it.
The bark on a persimmon, very blocky, alligator-like bark. I use this tree a lot in my reforestation in our county parks. And the reason is, can you believe it? The deer aren't eating it. The deer aren't eating it, and you look out in some of the fields, as you're driving by, you will see the young persimmons popping up and not being eaten down by the deer.
Going down here just a little bit farther. I think I got one of the most prolific sweet gums in the country.
It's called sweet gum for a reason. I'm going to pass this around. The fall color on this plant is fantastic. Red-orange color.
My brother calls it tidying up the forest, because I've always done that, pulling dead limbs out of trees and pulling up weeds, pulling off poison ivy. That's just a personal idiosyncrasy. All right, now as you come by and pay your respects to this tree, we're going down here just a little bit farther. You know, I told you I was a school teacher, and people always say, well, do you have favorite students? And I said, no teacher's pet. I love them all the same. And people ask me that about trees. You know, did you have a favorite tree? And I said, no, I love them all. But this is one of my favorite trees in Montgomery County. A European linden. This tree has like got character. Look at those burls and all on it. I mean, it just invites you to climb it.
At Brookside Gardens, our mission is to help people learn more about horticulture. I think people just really like big stuff. Plants are something that, you know, we have a lot of enthusiasts for gardening in our area. Really, the superlatives in different categories are things that attract attention. So I just think people really like seeing the biggest and the best.
Linden. One more time, just to make sure. 3, 2, 1. Trees!
Okay, and I got some good news. The next stop's a rest stop.
Okay.
The Champion Tree Tours are offered twice a year, in the spring and fall. Contact Brookside Gardens to register.